Hello, guys. Good morning. Welcome to the session. Hope you guys are doing good. So, let us start the session. So, if you remember yesterday, we have seen few examples, right? So now we know about the data flow, like our Apache Beam, where you can able to load the data, whether it is a CSV file or a JSON file or a Parquet file, whatever the input it is, you can able to create a P collection, input P collection, and create a pipeline object. And after that, you also know how to write it to the destination, right? You also know how to write it to the GCS file, text file, or a CSV file, or a write it to a JSON file or a Avro file or a BigQuery. So you already know all of these things also. So what I will tell you is that you take for you. I'm going to take one today. One of the example, that is I'm calling that as a job one. Okay, sorry. Let me try to do one of the job, and that's where we're going to be completing our data flow today. Okay, job one or pipeline one, whatever it is, both are same. Okay, I'm going to read one of the sample files from the some sample file from GCS. Okay, so this is a GCS path. Let me take any of the bucket. So let me take this source bucket, or maybe a random landing bucket. Yeah, and let me also open BigQuery. So we have here the BigQuery as well. So this is what we are trying to do, sir, now. So I have here the Google Cloud Storage. Listen carefully, this is important, guys. This is, and we are loading it to the BigQuery, okay? And using the Apache Beam with the data flow as runner. So this is my Beam code, and the runner for this code I am using as data flow. Data flow as my runner, okay? So moving this data from here to here using this runner. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do now. Let me set up everything. So I wanted to move it to this particular data set, and I will go here. First thing, 1 minute, guys. Yeah, let us try to do this activity. So let me take a sample data. Okay, so the data I am going to take is I need some sample data. Where is that data? Let me keep some sample data here, guys. Give me 1 minute. Let me look up where is the sample data. I do lost the track of all of these things. Where is this sample data? Yeah. Okay. So this is our sample data, sir. You can see here. What is this sample data is that I have here, I have here, see customer ID, purchase date, item name, item price, the quantity. Okay. So this particular data, I'm going to load it to the Google Cloud Storage. Okay. I have here, I do not have that data. So I'm going to load that data here first. Okay. Successfully we have loaded. So what I'm going to do is that first thing is that import all the modules, right? Import all the modules. Okay, importing all the modules. Usually Apache Beam will also be not available. Pip install Apache Beam as Beam. Okay, so pip install Apache Beam as Beam. You have to install it. Let me check it whether it's installing or not. Yeah. Okay, so I think here it is underscore install Apache Beam as Beam. Sorry. Apache Beam cache. It's already available. That's what it is saying. So use a different Python version of 2.1 requires. Okay, 1 minute. Apache Beam. Okay, install Apache Beam. That's it. GCP. It will try to install. Okay, so we want the Apache Beam. So first we are installing it. I don't do that. For your understanding, I'm telling you. And after that, whatever the Apache Beam it is, right? Import the Apache Beam. So what was that statement? Import Apache Beam as Beam, right? So I'm going to mention that here. Import Apache Beam as Beam. I'm going to stop this session. Okay. So for your understanding, I have mentioned that step. And after that, and what we are going to do, so we need to load the data. For loading the data, we need to create a pipeline object. So for that one, I'm going to see here pipeline object. So for the pipeline object, you already know with beam.pipeline. Okay. If you have any options, I'm going to add those options here. In next some time, I'm going to add it here. Let's not worry about it now. So options as P. Okay. The output is equal to bracket start pipeline object. I'm on 1, 2, 3, and complete. 3 steps we are doing it. So first one is read from GCS. Read from GCS. What is that file we are going to read it? Okay, what we are file? So that is beam dot io dot read from, right? Read. Okay, read from text, right? Read from text. So I'm going to create a variable called input path. It's always better to create input path is equals to, I'm going to mention here the path of this particular file, sample data. Copy this path, paste it here. Where is that? Okay. And use that variable here. Okay. So later, if you wanted to change it, you can come just change it. Or you can also give it as a environment variable as well. Okay. This is one thing. And after that, input path we have given. And this path is already having the header also. I wanted to skip the header also. Yes, skip header lines came automatically. Header lines is equal to 1. That's it. So this is my input P collection 1. Okay. After that, I wanted to do a small transformation. I don't wanted to focus on the transformations now. I wanted to focus on the entire pipeline. That's it. Okay. So for small transformation, transform data. Okay, transform data. What I wanted to do is that, okay, so let's try to do this thing. For example, we need to parse it, right? So I forgot that. We need to parse it. So parse the CSV because otherwise it will not understand it. So I'm going to parse the CSV. Okay. So let me try to parse it. Okay. For parsing it, how we have already done many things. Okay. For parsing it, I'll go here. I can use this thing for parsing. I can use this thing for parsing, or I can use this thing for parsing. Okay, many things I have told you guys. Anything you can take. I am going to take the JSON format for parsing. Okay, this format I will use. Most of the time, it will be easy for us when we try to parse the CSV as a JSON format while loading it to the BigQuery is a very good step. Okay, I am going to do this thing. Okay, copy this thing and you can paste it here, parse CSV and do function. Let us try to understand our data first. My data is having, okay, my data is having, I'm going to copy this data and keep it here for some time. My data is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and I'm going to mention all of those columns list here, copy, and I'm going to mention here the column names, 5 columns, and parse, and we are doing the Pardue and processing it. I have given all the column names, and we are splitting it based on the comma because it's a CSV file, and returning it these things again. Customer ID is equal to customer ID. Purchase date is equal to purchase date. I wanted to remove this integer. Okay, and which one? Item name. And item price. Quantity. Okay, so these are all the things that we are going to return it out. Okay, so I'm going to use that beam that Pardue, and I will use this parse CSV function here, and it's a function. Okay, and if you wanted to just print it out for your understanding, you can just print it out. Invalid beam. Okay, I don't think we should mention this thing. Yeah. Oh, it actually installs it later, and after that, yeah. See here, it is parsing it properly, right? You see here, customer ID, purchase date, item name, item price, and quantity. Perfect, right? So this is good. This code is good, and until here. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to load this data to the BigQuery. And we wanted to calculate the total price. For example, if you wanted to calculate the total price, I think I have given you that as an assignment, I believe, right? Let me look at the data and I'll be able to see. So you have a item one, item one. So this is not the proper quantity. So what I want is that, so I wanted to group the item price and quantity. Okay. So we can also add one more thing also here while we are doing it. That is total price. We can actually add, or we can add here total price is equals to, what is total price, sir? Item price multiplied by quantity, right? Unit price multiplied by quantity. Okay, so if you wanted to use this total price here, you can actually use it. Okay, so that's the thing, and let us try running it. Okay, for now I'm going to make this as, okay, yeah, it is a string of type, sorry. So I'm going to mention int of this thing. Quantity also should be int. Okay, what is that mean? Invalid int. Item price. Item price. Okay, okay, it's not int, guys. Sorry, it's actually float. Okay, so you see here the data is, if you look at the data, you'll be able to see the data of the item price is 10.0, 20.0. It's a float. So when it is a float, you mention it as a float and multiply it with the quantity. Here you have a total price also. Okay, you have added one more column, that is total price also you have added here. If you wanted to add some other things also, you can able to add it here, sir. That's also perfectly fine. Okay, so if you wanted to add some constant column, sir, I wanted to add some constant column, that is company or organization code, org code. So some org code, if you wanted to add it, that org code is nothing but a, so I would say A123. This is the org code. Organization code is AC123. Okay, this is the organization code. You wanted to use that code to add everywhere. So you can also add it here. So you are adding many columns. You can able to add any number of columns. Okay, so that's also perfectly fine. Okay, you see here, you have also added the organization code as well for all of these products. Okay, so everything is perfect. Now I wanted to load this data to the BigQuery. Okay, so I wanted to load this data to the BigQuery. So load it to BigQuery. I wanted to load this to BigQuery. So we already know how to load it to the BigQuery also. So you go to the writing options, you go down, you have here write to BigQuery, copy this thing, come here, just to mention this thing, write to BigQuery. Okay, something wrong. The indentation is not so correct. Okay, all should come here. Okay, that's fine. And this is what, this should be closed here. So this is BigQuery and this is, yes, that's perfect. Okay, so beam dot write to BigQuery. The table name I wanted to change it as test2 table. Do I have the test2 table? No, now I'll mention test1 itself. Test1 table and the column names. We have to mention the schema properly, right? So for the schema, I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna copy this entire thing. I'm gonna copy this entire thing. Where is this? Sorry. I'm gonna copy this entire thing. Come here and I will paste it here. Okay. I will paste it here. Let me try to change it. Customer ID is an integer. Okay. Purchase date. I am gonna go with the string for now. Okay. I don't think this is required. Customer ID. I think. Item name, string, item price. Item price, you see here, you can see here item price is a float that you can leave. Oh, no, it's a string again. I think you can also see here customer ID is also, if something you wanted to change it, right, you can go it here and change it, guys. If you need the customer ID to be integer, you check it out here. Okay, you check it out. It is integer. Purchase date, it is string. Item name, this string, and item price, you wanted it to be integer. If that is integer, you can actually mention it here. Int of item price. Okay, item price, you have got it an integer. So you will mention that as an integer here. And The quantity, if you wanted the item price is actually float. And quantity, if you want integer, you can mention that as an integer. While you are loading it, while you are converting it, you can actually mention that as an integer. So it's an integer. Quantity is an integer. This is a float. Okay. And total price. Total price is an integer. No. It's a float. Okay. Organization code is an integer. Is a string. So this is how you have to come up with a proper schema, guys. I'm telling you. Otherwise, the code will broke. Okay. So now you see here, we have a schema customer ID integer because we have converted to integer. Purchase date, it is string only. I have mentioned it as a string. Item name, it is a string. Item price is a float. I have converted there. Quantity integer, I have converted there. Total price float. Automatically, it is coming as a float only because we have doing the transformation, right? So it is coming like this. Organization code is a string. Okay, and write truncate, random, write data, everything is good. Okay, so before that, I wanted to delete this entire thing. Just to write it out. See whether the schema is matching or not. I wanted to see. Control Z. Now see here, integer, string, item, string, item price, float, quantity, integer, quantity, integer, quantity, what? Okay, quantity. Why is like this? Item price is this one. Why the quantity is like this? Item price float. Guys, what is the wrong here? Can you guys tell me? Here it is coming. I'm not sure why the values are coming here.
In return statement or something is wrong near quantity.
Okay. Int of. Oh, sorry. Not here, right? Okay. That integer should be here, right? I forgot that. Here it should be added. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so that's the reason we need to sometimes, control X and do it and check it out. Oh, it's the same. Something wrong. Again. Okay. Now it is not. It says this one. Right now it will come. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. I had forgot that code. Okay, let me control X. No, control Y. What is this? Item price. The quantity has to be in the quoted, and this is the one I need. And now what I will do, I will just control X and run it. Let me see now. Now quantity, total price, and organization code. This is perfect. Quantity is an integer. So you can see here. So quantity is an integer, total price is a float, and organization code is a string. That's perfect, right? Now you can able to load it. Okay. Sir, if I load it, you can load it here directly. But if I load it, what will happen is that it will be loading automatically. It will be running the code here directly. But which I don't wanted to write the code here. Run the code here. If I run it automatically, it will run and it will create a table. See, for example, if I'm something wrong, comma is missed. Okay. So if I run it, what will happen? You see here. it will try to load the table. Now it's completed without an error. That means it has created one table here. Refresh it. Test one came here. You see all the column names with their proper schema, and we have the details, and we have the data also. Okay, so item 1, item 2, item 3, total price, everything is here. And now what is happening is that it is running here, which I don't wanted to run it here. Okay, which I don't wanted to run it here. I wanted to run that job to be run here. Okay, so if you wanted to be run here, you have to use the pipeline options. Okay, the pipeline options we have to use. Okay, we have to define the pipeline options like input path, output variable, as well as project. All of those information you can actually get it from here. Project information. Or what I will do, let me just mention. I think somewhere I might have already done some kind of a input operations as well. If I remember, somewhere in the pipeline, no, right? Okay, no. Okay, anyway, let us try to do it now. So this is important step. Pipeline options I am going to do. So for that one, Apache Beam pipeline options. Documentation I will go. And programming guide. Python SDK. So while creating a pipeline, you can see here, this is one. You can set up these pipeline options. This is what I am talking about. Setting up the pipeline options. While you can configure your pipeline by creating a pipeline options object, setting up the fields directly. In the Beam, it includes command line parser that you can cast and all of those things. And while you are mentioning those pipeline options, this whatever the Beam pipeline options, right? You have to use that pipeline options here. Sorry, not here. Okay, somewhere you have to use it while you are defining the pipeline, right? There you have to use it inside this one. When you use it, automatically those pipeline options will be taking it. Okay, so let me see any of the examples they have given for the pipeline options. No, they have not given any. So all of this transformation where I told you, right? Part do group by key, you can actually focus on this combine as well, and applying part do all of these things. This is fine, but where is this pipeline options? Pipeline options. What pipeline options? One minute, guys. Okay, so I think it's not mentioned here somewhere, but it should be properly mentioning somewhere with example as a pipeline options. I'm not looking at here anywhere. Okay, maybe here. No, I would just select with the data flow as runner. Data flow. Let me select with the runner. Okay, so somewhere they have not used it anywhere, but anyway, let me tell you guys. Anyway, somewhere they will be using, but maybe this is the guide or somewhere. But let me try to tell you. So we're gonna be creating a pipeline options. So define pipeline options. We just have to copy it and load it here. That's it. We need not to do anything. Okay. So the same thing there. I have there they have mentioned, right. So the pipeline options. The same thing you can actually use it somewhere here. So we have to import these two things. One is this one. Copy and paste it here. Instead of the here, you can mention it here. Pipeline options and beam options is equal to pipeline options. Okay, and after that we have to set the Google Cloud options also, because Cloud also will have its own options. Beam Google Cloud pipeline options. Somewhere it will be set pipeline options data flow. Not this, yeah, Python. This is how we are running it. Beam options, pipeline options. Yeah, this is the one I wanted to talk about. Yeah, see here. See, okay, you can see here the pipeline options. Beam options is equal to pipeline options. Beam arguments. If you have any arguments, you can actually use it here. Runner, project, job name, temp location, region. All of these things I'm going to copy it here. Okay, I'm going to copy it here. You can also do it like this. So plenty of the things are here. You can use any of those options. Okay, let me do one thing. I'm going to copy this thing. Okay, I'm going to copy this thing and I will go here. I'm going to paste it here. So okay, beam dot arguments, it is not here, right? So I'm going to set that copy that arguments also here. This argument also I will mention it here. And if this APRGC has to run, argument parser has to run, this argument parser also we have to use it. Okay, I don't think I don't want it to mention, I don't want it to parse any of the arguments. Yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna mention, I want to copy this parser as well. Okay, you can define it somewhere here. Okay, you can mention, remove this thing, these arguments and beam arguments, and if this has to run, you have to import that. Import argument parser. Okay, so that's what I have done here. See, and this is our beam, importing beam and pipeline options and argument parser. This beam argument parser, we have used it here, and we are going to provide these details now. And you have to use the pipeline object like this. You see here with the beam dot pipeline, inside the pipeline options you have to use beam pipeline options. These options you have defined, right? You're going to be using it. Copy it, and here inside that you can paste it. Beam options, this you have defined. The runner is same. The project ID you have to change it. The project ID is this one. Copy and paste it here. And the job name, you can give your job name. You can mention the job one. And the temporary bucket location, you can give any temporary bucket location. I am going to give this one. Okay, I'm going to give this temporary location. Region is this one. Okay, so all of these are the beam pipeline options, and you have used it here. Okay, parser also it is important. Let us just run it. Let us just run it. Something wrong? Okay, apply parser flags not allowed. That's fine. What's the problem? accessing data flow has not enabled, not been used in the project. Okay, it is disabled, enabling it. So the data flow API is not enabled, sir. So let me gonna be going here and enable it. So data flow API has to be enabled. That is the first error. I think after that, describe the URL. I'm going to enable it. Once it is enabled, wait for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and after that you can able to run your code again. Yeah, it is enabled. You can run your code one more time now. Okay, started running. So that means you can go here inside the jobs and you can refresh this thing. Okay, job one is submitted and it is failed. What was the error? Okay, job one, you see here, job one is submitted, guys, and it is failed. We will see why. Pipeline is failed, status failed error. There are no cloud services robot account for your project. Please ensure the data flow is enabled for your project. I have enabled it, right? And data flow API is enabled. Data flow admin. Data flow API. Okay, we have only data flow API. This is enabled. And which project we are using? And this is the project only. Let me see here, or we can also see the error here. So BM Apache 3.8 SDK, and you see the error here at the bottom, and you can see the error also here. Let me see. There are no cloud robot account for your project. There is no. Please ensure that you have a data flow API is enabled for your project. I have enabled it. I don't know what is the problem here still. And if that is the case, I will try to run it one more time because it takes some time. Let me go here. Okay, job one is running now. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That some version is having some kind of a issue, but that is fine. We do not worry about it. So it's running. You can see here inside that it is running. It is also running here. You can see the symbol also at the top. That's fine. You can see here automatically your code came. So reading from the data, parsing the CSV, writing it to the BigQuery, and you can also look at here the errors. If you wanted to look at the errors, you have the errors. You can click on it here, and you will be able to see all the options only. Okay, let us wait for some time. It's gonna take some time now because it has to create the workers. It has to set up some workers to do this task, and everything has to take some time. Okay. Enable data flow APIs. These APIs we should enable, sir. That's the reason. Sometimes it's gonna get failed. Okay, it is still running. Let's wait. Okay, let's wait. It is still running. Oh, I could have given a table name as different. That would have been good. But anyway, right? Truncate, it will be truncating the data and loading it. Okay, so now you need not to come to workbench now. You need not to come to workbench. You can run this code from anywhere. You can run this code, for example, if you have this code on Cloud Shell also, you can run it automatically. This code will be directly supplied to the data flow only, submitted to the data flow only, because we have mentioned clearly that these are the Beam pipeline options. Very simple: runner, project, job name, and the temp location region. See, this job name is nothing but this one. Okay, yeah. Let's wait for some time. It will get successful, guys. Meanwhile, if anyone have any questions, you can ask me. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Okay. Yes. Correct. Correct. Yes. Correct. No, no, no. Usually, people even in the companies also, for the schema, they can mention it here. What they do is that they will try to create the schema in some Excel file, and they copy and paste it here. Okay, they will write some formulas in the Excel and they will copy and paste it here. Okay, or you can also do one thing. You can create one file and you can call it as a JSON schema, and that schema you can also use it here. Okay, you can also use the schema file and use that schema file for loading the data. So while creating the table, you can also use the schema. So usually, so instead of giving the schema here, you can actually provide some file, and automatically it will take the data from that file for the schema. That is also, yeah, that is also there. Yeah. Okay. No, not required. Not required. Okay. In such case, you see here, while we are reading it out, you see here how it was reading. So we have seen how it was actually reading, the reading from the BigQuery. How it was reading, you already know. You when you print it, automatically you will be able to see that. So for example, if I run it, it was the project is this one, this one. Okay, I have mentioned the pipeline options here, right? Okay. So let me run this thing. Or two things are running. It's gonna take some time. Okay, the output of this one will actually be the JSON or this one. If it is a CSV, try to convert it to the JSON. Or no, no, sir. What is even it is a JSON also, you can just split it. You see here, it is JSON automatically. You need to convert it again. You can trace all of these things. So you can directly perform your actions, transformations. You can accept, but the thing is that you parse it. Okay, row and column format is you parse it, because it's not that always I have to do the JSON. So that is the reason I have given you examples for this one. So I did not convert here. Do you think I have converted here? Do you think I have converted here into JSON? So when you print this data, it was not JSON. So y1 and y3, it was not JSON. It's simply as a comma separated file. But I have converted into, even though it looks as a list of columns, but what it will in underlying is that until the first comma, it will be considering as a column one. Until the next comma, it was a second column. It was considering like that. So I thought, so for me, while doing the parsing, what I'm trying to do, I am splitting the data based on the comma, and each comma is actually defining one particular column. So that's what it is. Okay, even though it is a comma only, the output of this particular p collection is a comma separated file only. But while doing the comma, you have also done one thing is that the first comma is a first column, the second comma is a second column. So that is how you have done it. Okay, any which ways you can do it, but the best thing is converting it into the JSON is good. So see here, this is still comma separated only. You see here, this is your first column, this is your second column now. So that is how. But when you look at the CSV file, it is not like that, right? So when you look at this CSV file, it is not, you don't say that, okay, this is your first column, this is your second column. You don't say it, okay? It is just based on the comma separated file, you are just enter the data. But the databases or the course does not understand it. So that's the reason we make, based on the comma, based on the delimiter, we split it and we make the code understand that this is a first column, this is a second column. Okay, so that's what we do. I think let's see here. Oh, these things are not closed. Okay. Okay, I think it ran successfully. Let me see. Yeah, it ran. All the things are successful. You see here, guys. All the things are successful. If you go to the BigQuery and just refresh this thing, okay, you will be having this is a recent date just now. 8:23 is the time just now. You see here. Okay, so this way you will be able to see it is getting successful. Okay, so you have the data, and if you wanted to check it out, you can just change the table name and try it out. Automatically it will work. Okay, yeah. Any questions, guys, on this one? Yeah, correct. No, class function only I'm calling. You see here, I can't just use the parse CSV. If I just use the parse CSV, it will not work. See, usually while I am if it is a function, you see here, if it is a function, I just call the name. Okay, I just call the name. But if it is a class, I call the function. This is a function. Parse CSV becomes a function. So if it is a function, you have to use these brackets. Otherwise, it will not work. Yes. No, we don't need not to do that. We need not to do that. If you have two functions also, you have mentioned that you have defined the two functions like process and process one, process two. You just bring this class function. That class, if you bring it automatically, those functions one by one, it will run. Okay, that's what the class becomes, right? The class is a group of functions. Yeah, yeah. It's like making a code structurized. That's it. Okay, any other things, guys? Okay, some people it may be a dark area, but try to focus on this one as well because nowadays people are using the data flow also heavily. Start with it and you have a documentation, go one by one. If you get any doubt, I have covered these things. What is P collection or how to create a P collection, everything we have covered it. The only thing is that you just have to focus on each and every point and focus on the code. If you focus on the code, all the concepts will be very clear. And this is the important step, pipeline options, whenever you're running the code in the data flow. Okay, now this job is successful. It's a batch data. We are not doing any streaming. Okay, yeah. Any questions, anyone? Of course, we can do that. See, we can copy this entire code. I'm copying it entire code. What I can do, I can go to my editor, or I can go to my local also. I can go to my local and keep it in the cloud storage also. Anything is fine. 1 minute. Oh, it is not submitted. 1 minute, guys. Okay, so you can go to the editor here. From the Cloud Shell also, I mean to say from the Cloud Shell also you can submit. When I say Cloud Shell, from the Cloud SDK also, it is the same name, right? So you can install your Cloud SDK on top of your local machine and you can submit it from there also. Let me copy it, a new file. That is beam.py. Okay, you can paste here the entire code. I have pasted here, right? And sorry, it's not getting saved. Okay, it is saved, right? Now here you can close this one, open terminal, click on ls, you have your beam.py. Okay, just write three beam.py, I believe. Okay, that's the reason. So in my code main.py, what I have done is that, if you remember, we need to have a Apache Beam installed. What we can do is that import, okay, not like that, pip install Apache Beam GCP. So we have to install it. So this is that's the reason. When your environment is not ready, you have to run your environment ready, and then you can submit. Okay. Okay. Now Python. You don't need to specifically mention Python 3. You can just mention Python beam.py. Supposed to submit it. Yeah, I see here it is submitted. Okay. Yeah. So it will again run it automatically. Likewise, you can go to your Cloud SDK also, same thing. You can go to your SDK. Okay, go local. This is my local machine, and you have to, somewhere your code will be there, right? You have to go to that particular path of that code and Python run beam.py. That's automatically will run. Okay. Yeah. And before that, install the dependencies, install the modules. Like Apache Beam is directly not installed. Or if you don't want it to worry about that thing, also you can do one thing in your code, right? In your code, what I have actually done is that I have made this as a this thing. You can actually remove this one automatically. First, this will install the Apache Beam, then it will run the code. Okay, that also you can do. From anywhere you can run this code. That's what the developers don't come to the workbench, guys. Don't come, they don't enable the workbench and run it. They have their own local machine. On top of their local machine, they will install the SDK, and from here they will just run Python, and they will give the name beam.py. Automatically it will be running, and it will be submitted to the data flow. Okay. So how do you have to set your project? Gcloud auth login. When you do it, automatically it will be asking your username and password also. Okay. Once you have provided your login credentials, then it will ask you for the project. Go here. See, the project is logged in. The project is what, sir? Yeah, this is the project. Okay, you can set change your different project or whatever, and you can run the code directly here, and it will be submitted to this particular project only. Okay, I think all good. Okay, guys, thank you all. We will start from tomorrow Airflow. Very important topic, don't forget. Okay, very workflow orchestration is a very important goal. Every interviews, they're gonna ask you what is this Airflow and all. Okay, focus on this thing. I'm gonna copy all of these things. I forgot, right? So yesterday's and today's also I need to do. So download it, close it, download it. Okay, two things I have downloaded. I'll go here, GCP notebook, data flow. So I am gonna loading it here, guys. This is Java. Okay, yeah, you have every code readily available. Click on it, everything is here. Okay, yeah. Any questions? The custom templates, I mean, it's the same thing. If you, I mean, the companies will follow its own way of creating the templates. I have not mentioned, I mean, we are not covering any template kind of a method here. Our main focus is on just focusing on how we can create a data processing code. And creating custom templates, you need not to create it. Companies will have their own templates. We just have to put it in our code, and automatically you can just run the template. Okay, template is like a, everything is already there, but the code, except the code we have to provide it. So custom templates, yeah, we are not covering this topic. Yeah, but if I get a chance to at the end of the session, maybe just to make me remember, someday if I get some time, and I will of course tell you. Okay, at least at least some idea how you have to create it. At least I will tell you that. Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, guys, thank you all. It's already 8:38. I have to go out. Okay, bye bye. Have a great day. Focus on the practicing the code. That's the very important step. Have a great day. Bye bye.